morning, everybody. How's it going? Tracy, I don't know. You posted this before I went live, so I don't know if you're still here, but I did not know that that was the part of the drug protocol. Well, I don't know about Nebraska and Nevada. It may be other places too. I didn't know that. It's very lethal. Very small amount is lethal, so it makes sense. It's used a lot in surgeries and stuff, so it's not like it's this horrible thing, but it's this horrible thing because it's gotten out following the all the opioids, which this is synthetic. That kind of addiction, those addictions are horrific. And from what I have seen, excuse me, there are places around the country here in the U.S. where there are these people living on the street who are addicted to fentanyl, and it's horrible. I didn't pull one up for today, but there's a couple of YouTube channels that do live streams from these areas, and people are just hanging out on a sidewalk in an area. It's just like with all the other kind of drugs that people get addicted to, and it's pouring in over our borders. From my understanding, it's just coming in like crazy. And so this latest happened yesterday at LAX in California. So we've got a new updated warning about Halloween candy, and it's a timely subject because here we are, 11 days from Halloween. And a lot of people have Halloween activities before that, but a bunch of fentanyl came in candy wrappers yesterday. It's not like it's hidden in the candy. They're using the wrappers to get it here. So it's not, fortunately, it's not hidden in the wrappers, but you can touch packaging from fentanyl. I've seen reports where police officers were looking at packages and they actually got, they had to be saved with Narcan because it just knocked them out. Hey, Cranky Squirrel. Cowboy John, I saw your email. I did not get it in time to watch it and then talk about it. But we can do a follow up on this. I'll look into it. And this, unfortunately, is not a situation that's going anywhere. It's going to be with us for I don't know how long, because it is legitimate. It's legitimately used, and therefore, well, and it does. It wouldn't even matter if they banned it because, it's being made, and it's going to come across. If it's pouring across the borders now, it's only going to get worse. Hey, 71 CLM. I'm having a great day. How about you? Chicken feet, Roddy. You can't chat. Okay. Hey, Beatlemaniac. Yeah, Cranky Squirrel. I got me a little hedgehog. I kind of rearranged my background a little. I'm working on that, trying to get it to be a little bit better. So we'll see how that goes. I moved my camera, all the stuff, but I didn't have time to really play with it. So I got to see about getting better. Getting better. Everything's got to always be better. So let's look at what I've got here. This is the news report from. Let's see. All right, just a second. Got to get through the ads. Drug bust at LAX. According to the LA County Sheriff's Department, someone tried passing through. All right, let me go over here and make sure y'all can see this. I didn't share it. Oh, Barb, wake up! I'm glad to see some people in here. I know it's not, something everybody wants to see, but the people in here want to see it. So, oh, really, Roddy? They're not doing it because of that. Thank you, CLM. Yes, I bought a few things the other day, and Kind of tried to get it.
Big drug bust at LAX. According to the LA County Sheriff's Department, someone tried passing through TSA screening with 12,000 fentanyl pills. They say the person tried disguising them as candy by hiding them in candy boxes. The suspect ran off, but the Sheriff's Department knows who they are. And this is just another reminder for parents as Halloween approaches. Law enforcement warning parents to check their kids' candy.
Check your kids' candy. So
I like the always.
they don't give enough news on there. Let me see what the story says. So they were warning parents about the possibility of drugs mixed in with candy. And so I mean it could be, and I've seen well, there you can even see in my background up here the colored candy, and so or colored pills that look like candy. So kids aren't going to know what every kind of candy is supposed to look like, and I don't know if it's flavored to taste like candy, but yeah, it is legitimate beetle maniac. When I was a child, we worried about the concern was about razor blades being put in candy, and then there was the Tylenol scare. So the Tylenol scare that is what caused all of the extra, like when you open a bottle of over-the-counter medication and it's got it's child-proof, and then it's got that seal on it, that kind of a foil seal on a lot of it, or plastic that you have to cut off, or if you're lucky you got it, grabbed it right and pulled it off. That was to protect tampering in stores, because people were going in and putting things in Tylenol bottles. And so that was the impetus to start the extra security and packaging. And so it's not like this is a new problem, but fentanyl has made a huge impact in a speedy way, and it's just getting ridiculous. Hey, Serena. It is Cranky Squirrel. Wandering Sub, welcome. Blue is not the only color. Well, yeah, look at all up there. There's all kinds of colors. Here dancing in love at hedgehogs. Thank you, Fiddly D. Yeah, drug education, whether you have children or not, we are going to discuss what you can do if you know somebody who, because you can accidentally get this. Supposedly they're putting it on dollar bills and putting them out on the street. So you pick up I don't know that this was proved that this is what happened, but I've been hearing about it. A woman picked up a dollar bill and died of an overdose because it had fentanyl on it. It's so, if you look at the pencil here on your upper left on the screen, you can see a lethal dose is that little bit of powder there. It's about the size of a couple of grams of salt, a couple little things of salt. Hey, Broken. Hey, chicken feet. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah. Oh, yeah, they can make it because it is synthetic, and so they can make it, and it's cheaper than meth. Wow, because meth was like, because people can make it in their well, Breaking Bad. They made it in a camper. You can pretty much make it anywhere if you have the right ingredients, and then because of meth, it's very hard to buy certain over-the-counter allergy medications. So a lot of drugs affect our everyday life. A lot of this manufacturing of drugs, and so maybe, yeah, it's from China, and I have it somewhere where, yeah, tiny. I have it somewhere about where it's coming in from, but I'm sure we'll find that in all the stuff that I saved. But someone tried to get through security with bags of candy that contained 12,000 pills of fentanyl early Wednesday morning. Today is Thursday. Am I correct? Yes. Yesterday morning, they were inside packages of Skittles, Whoppers, and Sweet Tarts. Ephedrine, right? Cranky Squirrel, couldn't think of that word. Thank you. Yeah, you can't get Sudafed, and it's on a registry now, so you can maybe go get a package with your driver's license, but you're going to be in a database, and therefore you can't go buy it anywhere, and they keep it behind the pharmacy counter now. Yeah, Mexico, there was a big bust in Florida recently, and so Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department and the DEA were at the airport, got the stuff. The suspect got away. And this sparked a new call for parents to be cautious this Halloween. There have been multiple reports this year of fentanyl manufactured in rainbow colors or disguised in candy wrappers. With Halloween approaching, parents need to make sure they are checking their kids' candy. If you find anything in candy boxes that you believe might be narcotics, do not touch it and immediately notify your law enforcement agency. Oh, and Lego boxes here.
Being referred to as every parent's worst nightmare, fentanyl is being packaged to look like common candy and being placed into Lego boxes. The DEA announced its first significant seizure of so-called rainbow fentanyl this morning. It happened last week when agents stopped a car on the Lincoln Tunnel. Agents say they found 15,000 multicolored pills. It comes as there are 9 reported fentanyl poisonings with LAUSD kids in just the last few weeks, including 1 death.
Uh-oh, chicken feet.
That bus netted more than 1/3 of 1,000,000 fentanyl pills.
Which sounds like a lot, and it is, but it's just a fraction of the number still out there. Eyewitness News reporter Rob Hayes is in Pasadena with the story.
They may look like candy, but each one of these fentanyl pills can be deadly. That is why a recent bust by the Pasadena Police Department is so significant. 328,000 of these fentanyl pills seized.
These pills were specifically designed, what they call rainbow pills, to look like candy. They are killing people.
Other fentanyl busts also happening. The Whittier Police Department grabbing thousands more of the pills, 8 pounds worth. What's shocking is that investigators say these seizures put just a small dent in a massive wave of fentanyl pouring into Southern California.
Last year alone, in 1 week period, we had 7 deaths as a result of fentanyl overdose here just in the city of Pasadena.
And now Halloween is fast approaching.
Can't with this.
With rainbow fentanyl pills all the rage, police are warning parents to check all the candy their kids bring home from trick-or-treating.
Make sure that their kids are not eating any candy that's not regularly packaged. We don't want to have kids who are taking pills that they think is candy and is really not.
Just how fast is the fentanyl crisis growing in Southern California?
Beetle Maniac, if you want to email me, I can send you all the links that I used today. I've got them all in a file, so they're in a Google Doc, so I can either copy those over in an email or just send you the thing. Is that good enough?
Well, Pasadena police
It's the scoopwithbarb@gmail.com.
say they seized about 100,000 pills during all of last year. So far this year, that number is at 700,000, and we still have 3 months left to go.
Oh, that's interesting, Fiddly D. I hadn't thought about that. So, yeah, I didn't know that they had to put on all the safety gear because, I mean, I don't know. You die so quickly from an overdose. A friend of mine, her grown son died from fentanyl laced in cocaine. She said he wasn't. So his brother told his mother that this son it wasn't something he did all the time. It was just, he did it some, and he actually got some fentanyl in the cocaine, and he was gone. It's just like that. Sure, Beetle. Anybody who wants any of these links, if you don't want to have to go look for them, just send me an email and I'll send you over my little link page. Yeah, it is kind of humorous.
Fentanyl is a synthetic opioid. Used properly under a doctor's care, it can treat extreme pain, but used improperly, fentanyl is a killer. 100 times more potent than morphine and much cheaper to manufacture. A tiny amount, as small as 2 milligrams, can kill an adult man in minutes. Illicit drug labs are mixing fentanyl into phony prescription pills, selling them on the street, and it's killing people, like 15-year-old high school student Melanie Ramos. Now the danger comes in rainbow colors. What can be done to stop it? How do we keep our kids safe? We're asking the experts about fentanyl. Eyewitness Newsmakers is on the air. Good morning. I'm Mark Brown. I'm going to put it bluntly. This morning, we are trying to save lives. We want to alert people to a hidden danger that could place innocent people in harm's way. And here to talk about the threat of fentanyl is Bill Bodner. He's a special agent in charge of the Los Angeles office of the Drug Enforcement Agency. Mr. Bodner, thank you very much for joining us. Did I get it pretty much right in terms of the threat here from what fentanyl is?
Unfortunately, you did get it right. I mean, it's the major threat facing our young people today.
And who is are young people in particular more at risk than others?
Yeah, what we're seeing is people between the ages of.
If anybody in here has a community tab, you could go share this out. I mean, I see people saying how important it is to get this out. If you have a community tab, just share the video out there. We might get a few more people to watch, but thumbs up helps it get out into the algorithm, and all your chat helps. Chat activity helps your views and everything. So if y'all could do that, that would help me a whole lot. Yeah. So I wish more people were in here too, but it's just the way it is sometimes. It'll still be out there. They can watch it later.
14 and 35. It seems to me like they're bearing a disproportionate brunt of the overdoses and of the overdose deaths caused by.
Chicken feed, I think they do it the same way you would do any kind of opioid. There's various ways. I don't really want to go into details, but it's just tiny, like, I don't know, like, who buys, like, I don't know how they buy it and do it without dying all the time because it's so lethal. It's very easy to overdose. Y'all know my past history as a coke head or whatever back in the 90s. I was revived and resuscitated by my boyfriend who had administered the drugs to me and numerous times, and very well could have passed away from that. And if any of that would have ever had any fentanyl in it, then I wouldn't be here today. So I'm grateful to be alive. That's been many years ago. Thank you, Phil DD. Hey, Gary. Yeah, thanks. Thank you. Hey, Daisy Duke.
Fentanyl.
All right. And when you talk about these deaths that are occurring, is it because they're getting these synthetic pills on the street?
For the most part, it's the pills. And here's the thing, Mark. Most of the time, almost all the time, they're not seeking out fentanyl. They're seeking out what they perceive to be a safe prescription drug. Percocet, Xanax, oxycodone. Maybe it's a drug that.
Percocet, Xanax, and oxycodone. I've been prescribed all of those in my life. All of them.
They've had experience with in the past, legitimately through a prescription, or a friend has, or a family member has. So they've heard about it, they know about it. They make a decision to self-medicate. Teenagers, unfortunately, they experiment with drugs. They seek these pills out on the street or via social media, and they end up getting fake pills that contain fentanyl.
All right. And what percentage of the pills, these synthetic opioids that they're buying on the street, are fake?
All the pills on the street now are fake. And, when I say that with such confidence, people say, how do you know that? How can you say that? Mark, we test the pills. We do undercover buys on the street all the time, and we're seizing pills from drug traffickers every single day in the LA area. These pills go to our lab. We test them in our lab.
All of the pills on the streets are fake. Okay. Hey, Sherry. Hey, Irvin.
All of them now have fentanyl in them. There's no pills on the street anymore that have legitimate pharmaceutical ingredients in them. So when you're buying these pills, even though they look identical, and I get it, down to the markings, the coloring, everything looks identical, they're fake. And in reality, they're just fentanyl pills.
I'm going to show y'all some pictures while we're here that show like real Xanax and fake Xanax, real this and real that. I can't tell the difference. And I don't think you would. And if you're out on the street doing drugs, I mean, look, we did whatever we could get. I wasn't addicted to anything particularly. I guess I had polysubstance abuse. We kind of did whatever we could. I mean, marijuana was number one, No, marijuana wasn't. Well, marijuana was kind of a steady, and the coke was when we could get it, and then other things that we could do. So, thank you, Nicole. Oh my goodness, Nicole. If you have like specifics you want to come up and share, we could, you could do that. I'm sorry, that's horrible. Yeah, it's scary. It's scary to me because I have been out there. Now, granted, it's been a long time, but I was out there where um, I was getting things from people, and supposedly script and everything. Now, this was before this, in the 90s, y'all. It's been a long time. But people who were out doing drugs and getting street drugs are dying from this constantly.
Fentanyl pills, and of those that you seize, that literally all of them have fentanyl in them, how many of them have a lethal dose of fentanyl?
Right now it's close to 45%. That's a scary
45%.
number. 45% of the pills on the
No.
street have 2 milligrams or more of fentanyl in them. And I call that a red zone amount. 'Cause what that means is the average person taking that pill could die from that amount of fentanyl. There's a lot of factors that go into it. Your experience taking opioids, your size. Are you going to take it orally, or are you going to crush it and snort it? And different methods that people take these drugs. But the bottom line is 2 milligrams can kill you.
And in particular, when you're talking about teenagers who are experimenting, who have no experience with that, no tolerance built in, those are the ones most at risk. Is that correct?
They're most at risk. And, the reality is sometimes they're naive, right? The drug dealers are taking advantage of these people. They're victimizing the young people. The young people are asking, are asking for a different type of drug. And the drug dealer's saying, yeah, I got that. That's what this is. Trust me. This is a real pharmaceutical pill, using street names, of course, but this is the real thing. This isn't a fake. And it's always fake.
How are kids getting a hold of this specifically? What sort of apps are they using? How are they?
An interesting thing happened during COVID, Mark. A lot of our careers went digital. We did a lot more stuff, even in our line of work. We did a lot more stuff remotely, less time in the office together. The retail drug trade, the same thing happened, believe it or not. The traditional places where people would go to buy drugs, a lot of them were closed. Nightclubs, places where you would gather socially. So what did the drug dealers do? They turned to social media, and it gave them a way to remotely make contact with a new customer base. They could target young people on Snapchat, on Instagram. They could advertise the drugs. They now deliver the drugs. I guess here's in essence what the problem is. The drug heroin, right? That was, when I was young, that was the powerful opiate drug. I had no idea where to get that drug when I was a teenager. I know that I would have probably had to go to a part of town that was high crime. I wouldn't know what I was buying. I wouldn't know how much it cost. I wouldn't know any of those things. Now we have a situation where we have a drug 50 times more powerful than that, and anyone with a smartphone can order it and have it delivered to a home. So in essence, everyone's home, everyone's neighborhood, no matter where you live, is an open air drug market. And that's what we need people to.
Now, I wasn't cognizant of that. I didn't know that you could just order these drugs from your dealer via the internet. I mean, we had to call our guy's pager in the 90s. We didn't have cell phones. We called his pager, and now you can be on Snapchat or anywhere on the internet and order your drugs to your home. It's, oh my God. Hey, Sandra, welcome. I'm very sorry, Nicole, and I didn't really expect you to come up or anything. I just offered, it would be great to talk to somebody who had experience, but yeah, I'm sure it's very tender for you
to be aware of. These powerful drugs are now easily accessible.
It's literally more convenient to get. It sounds like it's convenient to get as getting a meal on Postmates or something.
Postmates, DoorDash, that's what it's turned into.
That's incredible for this extremely dangerous drug. What are sort of when parents are looking at how to keep their kids from dealing with this, from doing this, what sorts of things should parents look for in terms of, I don't know, what kind of slang they might be using, what kind of apps they might be using, or the things that you really want to look out for?
First, I think parents really need to engage with their children around social media. In the past, it was probably easy for parents to know who their children were with. You know how they would know? They would look out the window, or they would drop their child off somewhere. Now with social media apps, there's so much more social interaction done online. Friending people, know who your kids are friending, know why they're friending them. look for new friends on social media. Monitor the direct messages that are going back and forth on social media. A lot of times on social media, there's emojis are used, right? There's an emoji language that's being used now with kids to talk about drugs, whether it's by text message or on these social media apps. I didn't speak it. Most parents don't speak it. So it's almost like our children are now speaking a foreign language. DEA has made an emoji decoder available at dea.gov/onepill. Find it on there, download it, and use it, and learn it, and use it as a guide when you're looking at your kids' social media, because that's probably the #1 place where, besides friends, where kids are getting pills today.
Okay, tell me again that link.
It's dea.gov/onepill.
Okay. You've also spoken about a video that's on YouTube that parents and kids should look at as well. Well, remember that?
Yeah, Mark.
Guys, just be aware that if you don't get your, if you're in a state that doesn't have legal marijuana, this can even be put in that. I'm fortunate that I don't have that issue here, but it can be put on anything, and you wouldn't know. I mean, it's terrifying. I can't even imagine. I just can't even imagine having been through this, having done what I did, and then having done it now. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here.
The one question I'm asked very frequently is how do I start the conversation with a child or with a teenager about this issue, and how can I keep my kids safe? The first thing I'll tell parents is you need to educate yourself. Parents really don't have, a lot of times I take for granted, and I think,
Irvin, you have a lot of info on this. Maybe you can come up in a bit and talk, because I mean, I know you work in a hospital and stuff. Hey, Nora, check her son's phone, but she won't. Oh no. No, I'm sorry. Kids experiment. You can't expect that your children aren't going to. Some of the best children in the world have, best behaved, the best students, the best athletes, and things overdose. It just, it just takes such a small amount. You check their phones. Wow, good for you. Yep. Yep, you got to do that. Yeah, I'm very sorry for everybody who's speaking out, how this has touched you personally. I mean, maybe we all have, because I mean, I had never met my friend's son, but I mean, that's kind of close to home. If somebody, a close friend of mine who lost her son from this, it's just horrible. Okay. Well, I don't know, Nikki, that the government didn't do anything. I don't know that they're not doing anything, but 13 and naive and acts like, yeah, because, well, they're invincible. Kids don't think they're going to ever. I mean, I was the same way. I was in my 30s doing drugs, and thought, wasn't gonna. I mean, even after I OD'd a few times, I was still doing it. It is so sad.
I think everyone knows these things. They don't. I would recommend parents and children watch a video together. It's called Dead on Arrival. It's a fentanyl documentary. It's about 22 minutes long. It lays out exactly where fentanyl is in the illicit drug supply chain, what the dangers are, and then it actually tells some very emotional stories about families that have been devastated and lost children to fentanyl.
Okay, and recently we have so much that we could talk about. The DEA put out a warning about these rainbow-colored fentanyl pills.
Yeah.
Those are those, there's some confusion about that. Do you think people are targeting little kids with those, or is this meant to represent or mimic another illicit street drug like ecstasy or Molly or something like that?
Here's what it does, Mark. It makes the drug look less threatening. That's the bottom line. So you're taking a very powerful drug, you're making it look less threatening by making it brightly colored. It's going to appeal to more people. Those are younger people. This is a purposeful decision by the Sinaloa cartel, by the Jalisco New Generation cartel. They're the ones that have decided to push the drug, to market the drug in this manner. They're trying to make it more desirable and less threatening so they can get a younger demographic to start buying into the drug. And these are horribly addicting drugs. Fentanyl, one of the most addicting drugs that we have. And what is that going to do? That's going to increase the drug cartel's profits for years down the road now. But it is a deliberate move to try to increase their customer base by making the drugs look less threatening. If I put a bag of heroin on the table with a syringe and a spoon and a couple brightly colored pills next to it, and I told the teenager which looks less threatening, they would pick the pill. They would pick the pill, not realizing that it's 50 times more dangerous than the heroin.
Bill Bodner, Special Agent in Charge, DEA office in Los Angeles. There is so much more we can get into, and we hope.
Guys, I want to watch this video that he just mentioned. I mean, it is on. Wait. Here, let me see if I can. I'm having trouble getting it over on my. Here, now I'm going to try it like this. All right. I don't know what this is because I haven't watched it yet. So, I mean, I'm taking a little risk here because I have not seen this yet. He just recommended it. It's 21 minutes long. Let's see what we've got.
You don't even know what you want. I'm done.
Look at me when I talk to you. You sit there and tell me.
Well, Nikki, I don't think that it's I don't think it's impossible, but I don't think it's very likely that you're going to bring it in on your shoes. And call. I mean, I don't think we need to be scared to go outside or anything, but we definitely need to be aware if you have a child that's, I don't know, you just got to be careful because it's being disguised. So, but I don't think you're going to get it. I don't think you're going to get it on your shoe and have a problem with it.
Unresponsive at this time. ETA about 2 minutes. Anything further?
My name is Dominic Tierno. Since I graduated high school in 2014, I've had the great honor of directing a number of documentary films about drugs and drug addiction. Our mission is to revolutionize drug education by telling real-life stories that motivate young people to make one of the most important decisions of their life, and that's the decision to not use drugs. 2020 was the worst year for drug overdose deaths that we have ever seen. In the beginning of summer in 2020, I came across this article. A 14-year-old kid from a town I grew up in had died from what appeared to be
No, I believe you can get it through your skin because they've shown police officers passing out, and maybe they inhaled it somehow because they were checking. But I don't. But yeah, I mean, Irvin probably could. But if you're in, if it's on your hand and stuff, is that what Prince was on opioids? Yes. Don't know if it was fentanyl or not with him, but yeah, he was addicted to supposedly pain pills.
Drug overdose. He's a smart, funny guy who, like many kids, was struggling with some anxiety issues and decided that he would turn to drugs to see if he could help himself with that. What happened was he went and bought this pill, this Oxycontin pill, from a guy he had known, because he thought that pill might ease the pain of what he was going through mentally. Well, he didn't know it, but that Oxycontin pill wasn't a real Oxycontin pill. It was a fake pill. It looked just like the pill that he wanted to try, but instead of Oxycontin, it was made with fentanyl, a synthetic opioid known to be 50 to 100 times the strength of morphine. That one pill he took that night killed him almost instantly, and his mom found him dead in his bedroom the next morning. Before I can even finish that article, I'm scrolling through and I see another linked article. Not far away, around the same time, another 14-year-old dead from fentanyl. So then I go back to Google and I type in fentanyl deaths. I hit search, and then it all made sense. I saw another kid, and I saw high school students, college students, young adults, all recent, all over the country, all dead from fentanyl. And so I'm looking at that and I'm saying, these aren't just normal overdose deaths. These people think they're taking one drug and turns out they're being killed. Why have we not heard about this?
It's a drug 50 times more potent than heroin, and doctors say just touching it can send you to the emergency room. We're talking about the synthetic opioid fentanyl.
The first time I heard about fentanyl was my sister busting in my house, being like, "Don't touch anything in his room, it's fentanyl." And I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, I have no idea what's going on right now. So most people haven't heard of this because we haven't been talking about it. Back in 2013, when it first started showing up, only about 3% of drug users were dying from it. Now we're looking at over 50% of drug deaths being attributed to fentanyl. If Alexander could have got a lesson, I wish he knew about fentanyl. I wish he understood that fentanyl poisoning is real and that every time you try something, you're playing with your life. It is pill roulette every time you try it. As a mom of a kid that was just trying to experiment, that's where it is. As a mom of a kid that died just wanting to experiment, I wish I could just shake you and tell you and make it real for you. But I don't know how to do that. I won't be there when you're faced with these decisions. I know that if he knew the effects of his passing, it would crush him. He never intended for me to find him on his bedroom floor.
Oh, I'm sorry, Wandering Sub. This is heartbreaking. How many have been touched in a negative way by this? Just a few people that are in here. I mean, it's just horrible. It's like we all know somebody.
He never intended for his dad to administer CPR, trying to save his life while we were waiting for the paramedics. Even his 12-year-old sister wanted to run in there and try to help do CPR, but I held her back. Alex didn't intend for me to see him wheeled away on a stretcher and put into an ambulance. Alex had no intentions of me seeing him lying on a stainless steel table covered with a sheet with only his head showing.
Oh no, sweet Sloopy. Wow, I'm so sorry. Oh no. How old was he, Sweet and Sloopy?
Alex had no intentions of me knowing what it felt like to kiss his face for the last time. The images that I'm left with of that day replay in my mind on a regular basis. Please do not put your family through this.
Thanks, Broken Justice. You'll excuse me if I don't play music today. I'm gonna save playing my music and stuff for when I'm doing funny stuff. I do very much appreciate your super chat. Thank you.
And please, 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 I beg of you, learn about fentanyl now. Don't wait until your best friend has died, or a brother or your sister. Learn about it now so you can help your friends. You can tell them, you can warn them. You can be a very important part of saving lives.
This would be how much cocaine somebody would have to ingest to kill them. This is the approximate number of prescription pills one would have to ingest to kill them. This is the amount of heroin the average person would have to ingest to kill them. Fentanyl.
So scary.
You're gonna have to bring that camera up here real close to see it. This much fentanyl would kill you and I if we split it. They put fentanyl in cocaine. They put fentanyl in heroin. They put fentanyl, as we already know and talked about, into counterfeit pills. It's odorless, it's tasteless, you don't know it's there. And when you find out it's there, it's too late. You won't even know it. You'll be dead. 2,500 people would be killed by that amount of fentanyl. Does that sound like a drug to you? Does that sound more like a poison? I was a police officer for 31 years, and during my time in narcotics, I'd never heard of fentanyl. In homicide, I saw many.
I don't know, Irvin, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I totally do. I hope you don't think that I'm on here doing scare tactics. I'm just showing what's out there. I don't know that we could over scare people. I mean, with this situation, the tiny amount it takes, I mean, and all the obviously all these people who are dying from it. I mean, which part's a scare tactic? I know everything can't be 100% true, but still, I mean, I'd rather over scare people than pretend like there's not a problem here. So I'm not sure specifically what you're saying, but just let me know. I appreciate that.
Many tragic things. I saw people that were
Hey,
killed
Caddy,
by
Texas
shootings,
Scout.
stabbings, beatings. Nothing that I saw at that particular time would have ever prepared me to see Jessica. I was at work. I got a telephone call from my wife, Cherie. She was frantic, uncontrollable, screaming into the phone about Jessica. And I knew something had happened. Jessica lived with her boyfriend, Nicholas, and a stupid decision in which they ordered and had some cocaine delivered to them, to their house, resulted in them ingesting it. And my daughter, at that particular time, became forever 29 years of age. Jessica didn't want to die. She has a...
As someone who used to do cocaine in the 90s, again, I don't want people to think that it's recent or anything, but when you would, I don't even know how much of this I can really talk about on YouTube without getting my video taken down, but people cut it with things and you don't know what it's been cut with, and we cut it and passed it along, like you get this amount and then you cut it and then you pass it along so that you have enough money to do what you want to do. That didn't always work because we'd end up doing it anyway after we cut it. And the thing is, you don't know who's cutting it or what's been done to it before you get it. So, and if you're taking pills off the street from your friends who you don't know where they got it, if it didn't come from a pharmacy, you definitely don't need to be ingesting it. So I'm just saying.
Beautiful daughter, Alara, who is now with Cherie and I, and we are raising. And she had everything to live for. Jessica knew about fentanyl, but, from talking about this issue after she died with her friends.
All right, Irvin.
I discovered that Jessica had a friend that had even died a couple of weeks prior to her death. And Jessica had spoken to her friends about being afraid.
Thanks, Kiki Ray.
If you knew about it, Why would you even risk it, sweetheart? You knew it. Why did you make that bad decision? Who knows? Those are things that you'll never answer. We're just trying to prevent it from happening to somebody else.
Dealers are using social media to show off what they've got, infiltrating feeds of ever younger teens curious about this flashy lifestyle. With more addicts and overdoses by the day, they've got drivers on demand delivering any drug to your door 24/7.
Social media app has changed the game when it comes to narcotics. Fentanyl's all over the place, and just massive amounts of it. And some of them are going to fall trap to that.
4 years ago, DEA in Arizona seized 0 fentanyl. This last year, we seized enough fentanyl to kill 70 million people. You're playing Russian roulette out there when you're taking these pills and you're buying this stuff off the street.
Social media has completely changed the landscape of the drug trade. Most people start by searching for what they think are prescription medications, and drug dealers respond saying that's what they have. But what you have to be careful about is what you're asking for and what you get can be two different things. And if you're buying this stuff from somebody online, their bottom line is.
And I keep saying on the street, because when I was coming up, I was in my 30s, I wasn't really coming up doing drugs. We got them on the street. We called a guy's pager. Or if we had it, their cell phone, not cell phone, we didn't have cell phones then. We called their landline. We didn't call it a landline. We just called it a phone at that point. But now I didn't know. Like, I didn't know till I started doing this that you can, order it online and have it delivered to your house. Order it from your dealer online, or, Snapchat and stuff. It's crazy. It's too easy to get. Yeah, Truckee, Bell. Truckee. Exactly.
They're just looking to make a quick buck. They don't have your best interest in mind. They'll tell you whatever you want to hear. Unless you're getting these drugs from your doctor or a licensed pharmacy in a bottle that has your name on it, you may as well assume these drugs are fake. You're not getting the real thing. Fentanyl is literally taken over the drug market. It's in everything. It's in meth, it's in cocaine. Obviously, the counterfeit pills that are out there. We're starting to see it showing up now in marijuana. The people who make this stuff, who are putting the fentanyl and everything, they have one goal: to get you hooked. Fentanyl is highly, highly addictive. They're going to trick you into thinking you're getting something you're not, to take you down that rabbit hole, to get you hooked on fentanyl and have you become an addict. Because to them, you're a customer, and you'll be a returning customer at that point. One of those times, you're going to get enough fentanyl to kill you. Alex was in her bedroom at night, getting ready for bed. She went on social media in search of oxycodone. It wasn't hard for her to find a drug dealer, and she had what she thought was oxycodone delivered to our house. One pill had enough fentanyl to kill 5 people. My daughter took half of this pill and died instantly. In an instant, my life was changed forever. My last memory of my daughter is of her being wheeled out on a gurney. I saw my daughter brought into this world.
A lot of it does come from China, and it comes through Mexico, from Mexico and China, and it comes from a lot of places. And yeah, you get no real user will use the internet to get pills. Irvin, that's what they were saying. Why do you think people wouldn't? Why do you think that? Why do you think they couldn't do that? I mean, I don't understand. That's how we communicate nowadays. Why couldn't they go on Snapchat and maybe not YouTube, but why couldn't they? I mean, explain that. I don't get it. Why they wouldn't? What do you mean, real user? And you don't have to be a real user to overdose. What's a scam? You think it's a scam? Okay, I get it. You've got knowledge of this, but sure, Irvin, come on. I'll drop the link for you because I'm just not sure what you're. Mm, I got to get the. Yeah, I'm not following what you're saying here. Grab it and come up and Irvin. Irvin, come on.
And I saw her leave this world.
Yeah, online. Yeah,
I
Abel.
have 4 daughters and a beautiful wife.
And you get the LSD that I did in the 90s was little bitty square piece of paper that you put on your tongue, and you just don't know how much is on there. And so you could easily overdose from that. I don't know a few people who order pills online. Yeah, I don't understand why he's saying you can't get it online. And where is he?
Every time we
Irvin.
take a family picture, I don't see who's there, I see who's missing. It's an odd feeling to looking forward to dying, because you know that's when your heart will be made whole again. Alex would have never wanted this. Don't do it to your parents.
The end of the world at the palm of my hand. If you can't come with me, I'll understand.
Okay, tell me what you're saying, Irvin. Welcome.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so what those kids that are getting it online obviously aren't educated enough to get the real narcotics because they're getting fake ones. People who scams just use the internet because they know that it's not real. They're meant for one time use the same way as they say like how would I say this? They use the internet just so they can it's the same scam as I'm an African prince and me, blah, 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 because you'll never hear from them again. It's kids use it because they don't know who to get it from. The real problem is not the narcotic itself, it's people making the narcotic. It isn't the real fentanyl. You get what I'm saying?
So you're saying all these pills that they just confiscated aren't real fentanyl?
Why don't they publish the purity of it? The purity of it is never exposed, and they don't want to say why.
So these people died for what? Oh, what killed these people?
What killed those people are people trying to make fake fentanyl to make a quick cash. Cartels even spoke up about this and said if they use real fentanyl to contaminate their product, it's actually costing them a lot more. It's good for a startup to get your customer base, but not good for a long term. You don't want to kill your customer base.
Right.
So
I've got to think that there's a little bit of truth in both. I believe that what you're saying in some instances, but I don't believe that.
Which part you don't believe?
I don't. I do believe that people are dying from fentanyl that's laced into stuff, and these pills that are coming over. They don't
Those
have
pills,
fentanyl.
no, those pills coming over, we don't know where it's coming from. The origination is just the last place they track it at is like probably Mexico or China, but
Right.
That's not the origination of the place. You don't want to if you're gonna send a product or you're a cartel, you're the supplier. You don't bounce it from like A to B. You go A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You make it hard for them to reach you. Those, look, those, okay, let me just say, let me see here. Real fentanyl is just as dangerous, but also just as hard to get. You should also know that doctors are cutting off a lot of pain patients that will return to heroin.
So is it harder to get than heroin?
What is fentanyl?
Uh-huh.
Real fentanyl, yeah. Opiates is very hard to get nowadays.
Well, I
Doctors are
know
not even
because I
prescribing.
used to be on prescription opiates, and every
Until,
month I had to physically go to my doctor's office,
right?
get a handwritten script, and then take it to the
Do a physical
pharmacy.
count.
Uh-huh.
Your urine test, and there was no issues, right? All of
Well,
a
I
sudden,
didn't
this
have to.
whole
No, I didn't have to get all that done. This was in the last 10 or 15 years, but I did have to do all that, and I know they're cracking down. But are you saying that the fentanyl that's been coming across our borders, the supposed fentanyl pills with fentanyl, are not really? They don't really have fentanyl.
no, they don't
Okay.
really have fentanyl. They don't really have fentanyl on in it, meaning you can't. So that means you can't blame it on the fentanyl itself. Real fentanyl is hard to synthesize. No one really knows the whole chemical makeup of it the real way. Those are just fake fentanyl. So now they just want to point it at something or someone to make another scare. Yet I've seen less and less opiate usage and more heroin usage due to the whole opioid epidemic nonsense
So
that's
what's
actually caused
killed?
more deaths.
So what has killed like my friend's son and these other people in chat who have had their relatives and friends, what killed them if it wasn't fentanyl, if they're being told it was fentanyl?
Well, that I have no idea. I could have. Why don't they ask for it? Can I see the chemical makeup? How much percent of it? Where did it come from? Was it a friend who had a vendetta? What is it, just some crazy guy trying to pay off a student debt? We don't know. To blame it on specifically fentanyl is just kind of ridiculous.
Okay. I'm just not following this. I'm just not. So you're saying that basically we shouldn't even be looking into fentanyl because it's not, I mean, that's how you sound. I don't know what you're really saying, Irvin. Tell me.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
What I'm saying is from what I've been, what I've seen is the crackdown on prescriptions and all of that has actually lead to more heroin usage. And I've seen people trying to get fentanyl because they heard of it, but what they see is people dying, so they don't take it. Addicts talk to, they're like, yeah, hey, don't get this, so-called fentanyl. It ain't real, it killed, blah, blah, blah. And I've seen actually a lot more people stay away from fentanyl because of that.
Okay. Well, you shouldn't take drugs off the street because they could have fentanyl, they could have anything.
They could have a whole bunch of things or nothing at all. Just the same thing
Right.
as cocaine getting into our country. Cocaine getting into our country is barely pure. It's been stepped on so many times. So is it the
And
cocaine
then
that
it gets stepped on a million more times before it gets to the person because I've been there and done it.
exactly? So is it the cocaine that's killing those people or the chemicals?
Well, do they not do blood tests on the people who during autopsy?
No, because all they need is just all they do is, well, like if you think about like a urine test thing, all they want is specific things to show up. They're not going to test for the rest. So if it says, let's just say, it
Okay,
says
well,
cocaine showed up, but there's like 50 other things. So they can list whatever they want to. They have pretty
on
much.
in the
Yeah, go
Kylie
ahead. I'm sorry.
Rodney in the Kylie Rodney case, they did the results from her autopsy came back from her drug screen and everything, or toxicology, and people were saying they didn't even test for fentanyl. Well, they did because I saw Zav girl going through, and she called and found out you got to click this thing, and so they tested for fentanyl and everything. So, are you saying like my friend's son who died from fentanyl didn't really die from fentanyl, or?
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it just needs to have a little bit to show up as fentanyl. And yet they're going to disregard the other chemicals that was involved creating the so-called fake fentanyl. And
That's
then they're
not
going to blame
true.
it on fentanyl.
That's not true.
Okay, thank you.
They look on they do an autopsy and they do a tox screen. It tells them
Right.
how much is in their blood system.
Right, but what
So
percent
if
do
they
they
have
need?
a minuscule amount of fentanyl but a crap ton of cocaine, they're not going to
They
blame the
can,
fentanyl.
but they will also include the fentanyl.
What's the I'm seriously asking, what is your pro fentanyl? What's the agenda here?
I don't have a pro fentanyl thing. I'm just saying we're using this to scare a lot of like.
It's not
we're
a
using
scare
this as an,
tactic. People die from it.
yes, people have died from it.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you for
I'm
saying
not
that, because you
disregarding
keep
it. No.
saying
No, I'm not disregarding the deaths of fentanyl. I'm just saying the amount. I've seen a lot worse than the fentanyl or other narcotics use itself.
But with all due respect, you're not even CONUS. You're in the islands. So you're not seeing what's happening on the ground here in the U.S. We have a very serious epidemic on our hands.
But everyone has access to real data, real raw data.
Right. And some of that real data is the actual results of people's death. And you literally said just a couple minutes ago, well, why aren't they testing? They're just saying it's fentanyl. Why aren't we asking the questions? We don't have to ask the questions, because guess what? We have the Drug Enforcement Administration. They know a hell of a lot more than you do, than I do, than anybody on YouTube.
Okay.
And if they say there's an epidemic, and I know for a fact that people are dying due to fentanyl, I don't understand why you're so concerned that we are using scare tactics. If we have to use scare tactics to save kids or people's lives, where's the harm in that?
Where's the harm in using scare tactics?
Yeah, where is the harm in using scare tactics so people do not obtain drugs illegally, and unfortunately some could pass? Where is the harm in saving those lives?
Okay, the harm being done is actually introducing to these people or people in general to narcotics they never heard of, giving them the curiosity and making them do it. Exposure.
No, I literally have not heard one story, not one. And I challenge you to find one that somebody purposely sought out fentanyl.
Actually, yeah, we had a bunch, like, especially kids too, and like you can tell they don't know. They're like, "Hey, do you think you can write me a script for fentanyl because I have like a toothache?" And you're like,
Okay,
"Dude,
if
come
somebody's
on."
asking for a script for fentanyl, that's not the same thing. Let's stay on topic here. We're talking about kids that are using the internet and other means to get fentanyl or to get oxy or whatever.
Okay.
Where's the confusion for you?
No, I'm sorry. What was your question? They're using the what?
You literally just said you've had kids that have asked for a script. That's not the same thing. You actually said it was the same thing not 5-10 minutes ago. A script of fentanyl is totally different than what a cartel is going to push on our streets.
But earlier you just said, "What does it matter with purity?"
I didn't say that. Oh, in my comment,
Actually,
yes, I did. Why does it matter? Because you made the comment, why aren't they, when they do these autopsies, telling you what the purity is? Why does that matter to you? If someone died of it, that means because let's be honest, no kid is getting a script for fentanyl. And unless they're a cancer patient, I don't believe anybody's getting a fentanyl script.
No, exactly. But their curiosity has piqued them into this direction. They're exposed
maybe
to
that's
things
what's
they never
happening.
heard of.
Maybe that's what's happening in your community. It's not our epidemic here.
Okay. I'm just speaking from raw numbers. I see. I mean, like the same
What?
way as I.
Tell me where these raw numbers are, because you said you want people to ask the questions and find out what
Mhm.
these people are really dying from. So tell me your raw numbers. What are they?
No, first of all, I was comparing the deaths to, let's just say acetaminophen and NSAIDs in raw numbers compared to actual
You
narcotic
cannot
use
compare Tylenol and ibuprofen to
because
fentanyl,
because it's
because
easier to get. You can get it everywhere,
Tylenol and NSAIDs are not narcotics. That's why.
but they can do a lot more damage and has done a lot more damage in raw numbers in whatever year you want to
If
compare it
Hey
to.
someone is
guys,
trying to
hey
kill
guys,
themselves,
hey guys, listen, I appreciate I appreciate what y'all are saying and doing. Irvin, this is kind of derailing my whole live stream here. Oh, okay. Well, you didn't have to jump off like that. I was just going to tell you my opinion. I want to talk about what we're talking about, and I don't want to argue about it anymore.
I'm sorry, Barb.
No, you're fine. I just I'm not mad at Irvin either. He just jumped down before I got to say what I was saying. Um, this isn't about all this other stuff. This is about putting out this message. And if
Raising
all
awareness.
yes, exactly. So thanks for coming up, Nicole. And
Thank you. I apologize. I hope you have a good day.
no, you don't have to
I'll be
apologize.
listening.
Okay, Irvin hit the wrong button. Okay. Yeah, I want to go on and talk about the problem, and we can
Okay.
save this for another day about all this backstory and everything.
Okay. I'll be listening. Thanks,
Thanks,
Barb.
Nicole.
Okay,
Thank you.
bye.
I don't I know that I know that Tylenol and NSAIDs can be very damaging to a person's body. It's over a long period of time, and I don't believe that we're talking about apples and oranges here with fentanyl. And I'm gonna I hear what you're saying, Irvin, but also I know that there's a problem with this. So I was trying to figure out where you were coming from, but it's just not making it's just not going to fit in the rest of my live stream. So let's just go ahead and finish this, and then we'll talk about more stuff about fentanyl.
About 8 o'clock in the morning, when I walked into his room, he was in a lying position facing up against the headboard with his hands over his chest. And I saw his eyes. He had a little blue on top of his lips. I screamed at the very top of my lungs. Daniel. 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 I called the paramedics. They carried him down the stairs and put him on the first floor and
Okay,
started
Irvin.
doing chest compressions.
Appreciate
And
ya.
then they took him to Los Angeles Children's Hospital, where we were put in a waiting room. And later on that evening, a team of doctors came in. And they said, your boy is just a shell of a boy that he was before. He's not coming back. My only child. I couldn't protect them. I couldn't save his life. I couldn't save my son, Daniel. My son is gone. It wasn't supposed to be this way. He was supposed to graduate from high school this year. If you love yourself.
Nikki, yes, that's how a lot of people start with pain meds from an accident. I had the 2-level fusion in my back and was prescribed quite a bit of opioid. Well, I think it was Percocet. I think it's what the one I was on, and quite a bit. And then you build up a tolerance, and then you take more and more. I never felt addicted to it. I stopped taking it. I weaned off of it myself. I didn't contact my doctor. I carefully weaned off of it. Didn't have any problem whatsoever with that. Feel a whole lot better not being on it, but a lot of people are prescribed, even a little bit from a dentist. I saw somebody mention a dentist earlier. You can just get it for a small amount for a dentist or an out of, it's gotten a lot. The doctors have gotten a lot. Well, they've had to prescribe less. It's very, very hard to continually get pain medication. You get addicted, people get addicted, and then they are needing to buy it off the street. They go to heroin because they can get heroin, fentanyl, whatever. If you're addicted, you will do whatever you have to get your drug of choice. Again, I'm very fortunate that I didn't have a problem with it. And oh, well, my doctor gave it to me. Of course, you get legitimate medications from doctors and you can become addicted. So it's not that you're a bad person or you're you don't start out that way, but you can end up that way as an addict from it. So, oh wow,
Respect
Pink
yourself.
Lady,
If you
I'm
love
so
life,
sorry.
you have a choice, because it is between life or death. This is no joke. You can and will die. How do I know this? I can tell you that I've met thousands upon thousands upon thousands of parents nationwide. I wish somebody had sat me down and had this talk with me about what fentanyl does to people. I didn't get that chance. You do.
There's always been one main problem with the films that we make, and it's the reason why we try to.
Irvin, it starts out for a whole lot of people as pain. People, no, there are a lot of people who because I knew people who would pop pain pills and get high on them, and I took some. My friend had them, and I took some, and I never got what the attraction was. I didn't see the attraction. And then I had made 3 major back surgeries and started taking. Well, I started taking them after the second back surgery, and while I was on them is when all this became, all these changes came and how hard they were to get. So I don't even know now because I haven't taken one in. It's been at least. See, I've lived here 3.5 years, 4.5, 5.5 or 6 years ago, I guess, was when I quit taking them. Yeah, everybody wants to pop a pill for stuff, but we can talk about that till the end of time. But there are kids coming up who are we've got to stop this before it starts. As far as addiction, if it takes scaring people that there's fentanyl in their pills they're getting, okay, I'm scare them. I don't want them to die. I don't know who that telemarketer is that's always trying to call me, but
keep them as real and as relatable as possible. People just so commonly think that it will not happen to them. I'm talking about great people, nice people, cool people, intelligent people with big plans for the future, big potential. Gone because of one choice they didn't know would end their life. Fentanyl is coming for anyone and everyone. So the most important message that I can give to kids, to teens, young adults, anybody, is the same old message we've heard time and time again. And that's to really get serious about not even trying a drug. You see, back when we first started, I was telling kids not to use drugs because you might get hooked, you might get addicted. Now there's not even time for that. Now it's don't try a drug because you might actually not wake up tomorrow. You might actually not get another chance. One choice is all it takes. If you don't believe that, I guarantee you, at this point, there was someone very similar to you who wished they could be here right now to look into the camera and look into your eyes and say, don't do it. Please don't do it. Please, I wish I wouldn't have done it. Don't do it. Don't risk your life. So my question for you is, are you going to listen? Or will it be your family and your friends holding your picture, wishing they could have been there to tell you?
This is my son, Alexander. He died at 14 years old from fentanyl poisoning.
This is our daughter, Jessica. She was 29 years old when she was killed by fentanyl.
This is my daughter, Alex. She was murdered at 20 years old by a drug dealer who sold her a counterfeit pill made of fentanyl.
This is my son, Daniel Joseph Puerta Johnson, killed at the age of 16 by illicit fentanyl.
This is my son.
So I don't know if it's like fake fentanyl or real fentanyl or whatever it is that's coming across the border, but it's killing people. Fake, real. And look, if you're taking pills that you didn't get from a pharmacy, it might not be fentanyl, it might be something else, but still, it's a good warning to tell people, tell your kids you can die from this. You could have died from it if fentanyl wasn't around. It's just that it takes such a tiny bit of it, and I guess if they're making fake fentanyl, I don't know. I don't know. I still was not following everything that Irvin was saying, and I'm not bashing you, Irvin. I'm not getting it through my skull. Pink Lady, I've seen this case. Something was pushing up on the addiction part of the brain and then removed. The addiction left instantly. There are some who can take a pill and be fine, have no desire to continue. Yes, exactly. And you would think, because I had a problem for a short period of time with alcohol. I had a problem for a short period of time with cocaine. I was prescribed opioid pain relief for several years. I didn't have a problem with those. Other than, I was in major depression and they don't help you if you're depressed. So, yeah, I know. I don't know about that. International Overdose Awareness Day, and there's a day for everything, but it's just happening. So yeah, I don't know, Pink Lady. It's synthetic opioid, yeah. So maybe whoever made it didn't make it exactly like fentanyl, which could make it just as deadly and dangerous. So it's counterfeit or not. I'm not sure. So let me get back to my all right. And you can't believe everything our government tells us. I get that. Uh, I get that, but I'm gonna err on the side of caution here that fentanyl is dangerous, and maybe we're getting some in our country that's like not legit or something. But yeah. Oh, okay. So sorry, I was saying to point it fentanyl when it's only 11% and X amount high percentage of another chemical. Okay. No, I'm no, I'm not. It's not that I don't want to listen to you. It's just that I'm not getting your point here. I don't know if your point was to tell me not to cover this or that it's being inflated or something. I'm not positive about. Okay, so what is it? Fentanyl is a potent synthetic opioid drug approved by the Food and Drug Administration for use as an analgesic, pain relief, and anesthetic. It is about 100 times more potent than morphine and 50 times more potent than heroin as an analgesic. Said that wrong. Fentanyl was first developed in 1959 and introduced in the 60s as an intravenous anesthetic. It is legally manufactured in the U.S. Illicit fentanyl pharmaceutical products are diverted via theft, fraudulent prescriptions, and illicit distribution by patients, physicians, and pharmacies. From 2011 to 2018, both fatal overdoses associated with abuse and clandestinely produced fentanyl and fentanyl analogs, is that how you say that? And law enforcement encounters increased markedly. So law enforcement got involved at a higher rate. It's easier for me to say. Why don't we cloud the problem? Kids are dying. Yeah. Hi, Shy 420. The fake part is the pill you were getting isn't what you're asking for. Oh, okay. Well, that's I think from what I heard that Anne has fentanyl right after. Well, yeah, we're not sure, Nikki, because at least I never heard because I did follow that case. Is that they gave her well, she had it in her system, and it was unknown at the time that I last checked on it whether she got it because of the severe pain that she would have gotten from the burns, or if she had it in her system before the crash, if that's maybe what made her crash. Right, Pink. According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, fentanyl analogs were involved in roughly 2,600 drug overdose deaths each year in 2011 and 2012, but from 2012 through 2018, the number of drug overdose deaths involving fentanyl and other synthetic opioid increased dramatically each year. More recently, has been a reemergence of trafficking, distribution, and abuse of illicitly produced fentanyl and fentanyl analgesics, with an associated dramatic increase in overdose fatalities, ranging from 2,600 1,335 in 2018. There's some common street names. It is currently available in the following dosage forms: oral, lozenges, lollipops, effervescent tablets, sublingual sprays, nasal spray, terminal patches, transdermal patches, and injectable form. Fentanyl is encountered either as a powder or in counterfeit tablets. Sorry, I lost my connection there for a minute. All right. How is it abused? Fentanyl can be injected, snorted, sniffed, smoked, taken orally by pill or tablet, and spiked onto blotter paper. Fentanyl patches are abused by removing its gel contents and then injecting or ingesting these contents. Patches have also been frozen, cut into pieces, and placed under the tongue or the cheek cavity. Illicitly produced fentanyl is sold alone or in combination with heroin and other substances and has been identified in counterfeit pills mimicking pharmaceutical drugs such as oxycodone. According to the National Forestry Laboratory Information Systems reports on fentanyl. Still breaking up. Yeah, I've got a very bad connection, unstable connection. I'm just going to keep going and hopefully it's, let me know if you, because I did have to restart this thread. I mean, this live stream. Both pharmaceutical and clandestinely produced increased from nearly 5,400 in 2014 to over 56,500 in 2017. Fentanyl, similar to other commonly used opioid analgesics, morphine, produces effects such as relaxation, euphoria, pain relief, sedation, confusion, drowsiness, dizziness, nausea, vomiting, urinary retention, pupillary constriction, and respiratory depression. Overdose effects include may result in stupor, changes in pupillary size, cold and clammy skin, cyanosis, coma, and respiratory failure leading to death. The presence of triad of symptoms, we don't need to know all that medical stuff. Which drug cause similar effects? Drugs that cause similar effects include other opioids such as morphine, hydrocodone, oxycodone, hydromorphone, methadone, and heroin. Fentanyl is a Schedule II narcotic under the United States Controlled Substance Act of 1970. All right. No sound? No sound again? Okay. You're good, just behind in chat. Oh, they're behind in chat. Yeah, I did lose my stream there for a minute. Let me find this. Okay. So, where does it come from? Mexico and China are the primary source countries for fentanyl and fentanyl-related substances trafficked directly into the United States. India is emerging as a source for finished fentanyl powder and fentanyl precursor chemicals. Just 1 second.
Swear I won't forget this. Why do I regret this? In my mind, reckless. Thoughts are feeling endless.
My name is Amy Neville, and I want to introduce you to my son, Alexander Neville. Alexander will forever be 14 years old, and he had a huge curiosity about the world, whether it be the Civil War, other countries, politics. He would get deeply involved, learn about things, and unfortunately, drugs were no different. On the evening of June 21st, he came to us and he's like, I gotta talk to you guys. And he sat us down at the kitchen table. He proceeded to tell us how he had been experimenting with OxyContin for maybe a week, maybe 10 days at the most. But it really had a hold on him and he didn't understand why. The morning of June 22nd, I called the place to see about getting him in, and they needed to call me back. We went about our day. I took him to get his haircut. At one point in the day, we discussed the pills again, and I remember putting my hand on his shoulder and looking into his eyes and saying, "Hey, please do not do any pills today." He said, "I won't, Mom. I've only been taking them every other day, and today would be a day that I wouldn't take them." You know, I didn't ask him if he had any. I didn't go down that path. Because at the same time, we thought this was still a legitimate prescription pill that he was getting. We thought somebody stole a prescription somewhere and is now selling it to friends through social media.
Through social
That
media?
night, Alexander came home from hanging out with friends.
Social
We yelled
media?
out hello to him. He went to his room. That was the last we heard. Following morning, at 9 a.m., I went to wake him. I could tell instantly something was wrong as soon as I knocked on his door. I saw him lying on his beanbag chair, just like as if he had gone to sleep. Except he was blue and he wasn't breathing. Alexander died on June 23rd, 2020. After taking a single pill,
Oh.
a single counterfeit pill that contained enough fentanyl to kill 4 people.
I'm
See, Alexander
sorry.
thought his drug dealer was his friend. He thought this drug dealer actually cared about him because he took advantage of him, made him feel like he was important. You know, at your age, you're finding your way, and unfortunately, people will come along and take advantage of that. And if it scares you a little bit because you've taken them or your friend is taking them, you're right to be scared. These pills can kill you, and at some point they will. If you are taking these pills or you know someone who's taking these pills, it is urgent that you get help immediately. And I'm sorry that that's just the way that it is. There is no such thing. There is no time for an experimental phase anymore. The experimental phase is deadly.
I'm sorry I had not shared my screen with y'all. Sorry.
It went dark, and then I woke up in the ambulance.
Yeah, Pink Lady, I'm sure that this will be demonetized, which is okay. That's, it's just the way it is. Thank you, though.
They told me that I flatlined twice. My name is Summer. I'm 24, and I'm from Corona, California. I want to tell my story to people so they don't make the same mistakes that I did, because I died twice. There's no safe way to use fentanyl. It's one dose, and you can die.
There are 5,000 milligrams in a teaspoon of fentanyl. 2 milligrams is lethal and kills people. My name is Mike Hestron, and I'm the Riverside County District Attorney. In Riverside County, the number of people dying from fentanyl poisoning is basically doubling every year for the last 5 years. We've got to do something. We're not just going to stand by and watch people be cut down. We started about a year ago looking into if we could build a case for murder, just like we did in the early days of DUI prosecutions for murder. And eventually we were able to do so. What ends up happening on our streets is that people are buying what they think is Valium or Xanax, Percocet, M30s. And so people are being basically fooled. They're taking a pill that's been made in the street with fentanyl, and it's killing them. They're being poisoned.
It's killing people after 1 dose, not 2 doses, not 3 doses, not 4 doses. It's killing people when they take it 1 time.
I just imagine like if I were to be dead, like what would my family be going through?
It might be happening right underneath your nose. It happened in my home on game night. It happened in my home on Taco Tuesday. It happened in my home when I wasn't home. Kids are taking the risk, and they hear it on the news, they hear it on on Twitter, they might hear it on TikTok about how, oh, you'll die from fentanyl. You really will. You really will die. You possibly could die. My daughter died. She died twice.
To the people who are dealing or trafficking in fentanyl, here's my message to you. Stop doing what you're doing and stop now. You need to find another way to make a living, because what you are doing is killing people. And these are real people, our neighbors, our friends, our sons and daughters, and it's got to stop. And so I want you to understand that in this office and in this county, we're going to do everything we can to hold you accountable for their deaths.
Yep. I think there's another one here.
This is my son.
This is my daughter.
This is my son. This is my sister.
Sorry, I've got a bad Wi-Fi connection here.
This is my only son, Connor.
Not sure if we got enough juice here to keep going. That's gotta.
This is my son, Richie. He died from fentanyl.
This is my daughter, Sarah. She died from fentanyl.
This is my son, Trey. And he died of fentanyl. This is my sister, Athena. She died from fentanyl.
My name is Mike Hestron. I'm the Riverside County District Attorney. My job is to seek justice on behalf of the people of Riverside County, protect the public, and reach out to all our communities and build strong and solid relationships. The reason why Riverside County has taken such an aggressive approach to prosecuting fentanyl dealers is that we're facing a crisis in our county, really across the state and across the nation. But in Riverside County alone, in the last 5 years, we've had an 800% increase in the number of fentanyl-related deaths. We call them fentanyl poisonings. But in 2020, we had 227 fentanyl-related deaths. For 2021, we're on pace to have between 500 and 600. So over the last 5 years, the number of deaths have essentially doubled every year. This has to, we have to push back on this. It has to stop somewhere, or it's going to keep spiraling out of control.
Thanks, Shelley.
2 milligrams of fentanyl is fatal to the human body. In a teaspoon of fentanyl, there's 5,000 milligrams. An overdose, when you think about a classic overdose, somebody takes heroin, for example. They take heroin, they build up a tolerance to the heroin, and over time they have to take more and more of it. Eventually their body reaches a breaking point because the amount gets too much for their body to handle, and death follows. The overdose. Fentanyl is different. The introduction of such a lethal synthetic opioid has completely changed the nature of drug dealing and drug use in our country. One drug, one time, and it's lights out. That's it. It's fatal. The traffickers are going, and the cartel members are going to the extent to make the pills with the exact markings of the real pharmaceutical. And so the DEA estimates that in street-made pills containing fentanyl, about 25% of the pills are fatal, contain a fatal dose of fentanyl. So now someone has in their hand what looks like a pill made from a legitimate company. They might assume that pill has been tested by the FDA, but nothing could be further from the truth. They die that night in their sleep, over and over again across Riverside County. So I call that not an overdose, but a poison. Our young people are playing Russian roulette. That's happening every day, day in and day out. That's happening every day, day in and day out, across this county, across the state, across the country. Somebody who has specific knowledge that it is lethal and this fatal. And then they go ahead and they still continue to deal drugs or furnish drugs to that they know were.
Uh, can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me now? I lost it again. Can y'all hear me now? Okay, I mean, it dropped me again. I'm sorry. I'm having connection problems, and I'm not going to play that video because I guess it's just pulling too much. I did want to finish off with um this is in case you have somebody who is doing drugs around you, or if you work in some kind of a place where you might have need for this. Police departments and others have now been given these uh, naloxone, the nasal spray, and the injectable. Um, so it's how you, and it's not just for fentanyl, but you can save somebody's life if you have this, and you can get these, and you can have them with you if you work at a school or somewhere where uh, you're around people. See if we can get this video to play.
911, what's your emergency?
All right. I thought I had a lot of technical issues today. Thought there was more to this. Let me see. So who should carry it? Why is it not showing up on my screen? It's such a lovely day to have so many issues. There. All right. Who should carry it? Who should have it on them? Who should have that in their store or their. If you or someone you know is at an increased risk for opioid overdose, you should carry naloxone and keep it at your home. It's available in all 50 states. There are signs of overdose that you can So I make this available to anybody who sends me an email at thescoopwithbarb@gmail.com. It's in part of, what I've shared today. I know we've had some technical issues, and I don't want to keep battling with it. Um, this is something that we can definitely come back and talk about. I wanted to get it out there today because Halloween is coming up. If you take your children trick or treating, if you even if your kids just go to a Halloween party or something, or any party, it's very necessary that our children are told about the potential of all of these medications and drugs that are getting. I mean, look, you can we can bury our heads in the sand and say, "Oh, my kids wouldn't do that," or anything like that. But no, you would have looked at me and my family and my well, everything. You would never have guessed that I would be injecting um cocaine. No, you would never nobody would ever have guessed that. They would never have looked at me. I didn't have a bunch of stuff going on in high school. I mean, I did smoke some marijuana, but none of this. And yeah, you can get it, Pink Lady. You can get it at your pharmacy. I don't think I need it because I live alone and I don't have people over and stuff. But I think most people, it would be beneficial to have it. Yeah, you keep it in your purse. Thanks, Irvin. It is. And I think that the more aware we can be about these things, what if we just saved one life, y'all? What if awareness of this problem, all the opioids, whether they're synthetic or, real, uh, in the manufacturing process, it's all important. There's a lot of people on the YouTube, around YouTube that have been addicted to any substance. There's a lot of it here. That means there's a lot of it in the United States. That means there's a lot of it in, yeah, Pink Lady Luck. That's true. So it wouldn't hurt to have it with me. That's right, Gary. And no, I'm not getting a lot of views today. I'm not only I'm not only on YouTube to make money or to get a lot of views. I want to help other people, and I like to be funny more. I like to do those, but this stuff's important, and I'm going to do more. I'm going to continue to do videos about things that are in the news. So that's kind of a way that I'm heading. Maybe not long haul true crime stuff. I don't know, but I like to take them from the headlines. So maybe I'll just start a series of that. But yeah, this is important. And yeah, exactly, Pink Lady. Yeah, what if you just save one life, y'all? What if this almost 2 hour live stream informs some people, raised consciousness, raised awareness, helped one person, and yeah, drama sells, and that's fine. And I'm not trying to make a bunch of money. So I'm glad that you all were here. I'm glad that you've been, for the most part, really, really great in chat. The chat will not be. Oh, thank you, Chris. I did not. I did not check the box to replay the chat because hopefully people who watch this later will be more interested in what I was showing, and it'll get around and people can see it. So if you have anybody who is in danger or anything, share this with them. I know you. Okay, Irvin. Thank you. Thank you, CLM. If you can overcome bad lifestyle choice. Yep. Yeah. So, hey, Nightmare. So we'll come back to this at some point. Maybe we'll get Irvin to come back and we can have a debate about all that stuff. But for today, let's just focus on being aware. And Halloween is coming up. So check all your kids' candy. Educate your older children, your teenagers, and middle school kids about this stuff. Just do that. Yeah, Angie. Hearts to you. Thanks for being here, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.